Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 4 of GFreak Speaks podcast. We are joined today by the one and only number 1 AFL Premiership player and streamer, Jack VINEY. Welcome, man. Welcome.
Thanks, Jacko. That was a good intro, mate. I like that.
There we go.
Probably a few AFL streamers out there that might be a little salty with that intro, but I got the Premiership, mate, so I can hold that over their head.
You got the cup, mate. Do you have it in your house by any chance?
Unfortunately, I
No?
don't. I have the medal, but it's actually in my room. I'd
That's
have to
okay.
run up and get it.
That's okay. That's okay. You can show us later or whatever. But dude, that's awesome. Tell me about the thrill. That thrill when you walk out on, like, first of all, run me through it. So, you know, the morning of, the day before, like, tell me about the lead up to the grand final, dude.
Yeah, well, we were in Perth, away from my wife and kids. So they did it a bit different. Was it different this year? So we had a week off from the prelim. So we had 2 weeks before the granny. And without the family, you kind of got a fair bit more spare time. And that leaves you with your thoughts a bit more than often. So I was pretty nervous. 2 weeks before the grand final, we knew we were going to be playing, but there was a 2 week wait, and my mind was racing about, what if you win, what if you lose? It's obviously what we train so hard and make the sacrifices along the way is to be in that position and ultimately win a grand final. So 2 weeks out, I was sweating bullets, but when we got back into training, maybe a week out, started to feel a bit more normal. And then I woke up the morning of the granny, and it was the nerves came back strong, and I was pretty nervous, leading up to the game.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I can feel like, I see a lot of the boys playing golf or, even turning to video games or just something to kind of take their mind off it. Like, I know that myself coming up to just a random tournament, which is nowhere near on the scale of an AFL national broadcasted sport. It's just one of those things that, you get nervous. You have to get nervous. I don't know anyone that's that cold that will just not tingle at the moment of a big event. Like, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
If you don't, then you're not human, bro.
Yeah, exactly. We're competitors, and with competition, there's winners and losers, and that gets to a point, the pointy end of the tournament or the pointy end of the season where it's the best v best, and you strive to put yourselves in those positions, but it doesn't make it any more less nerve-wracking because you finish second, and all that hard work is kind of lost. So you really got to try and capitalize, and luckily we just had a really all the boys were gelling, and we got the job done on the big dance.
Yeah, you guys clicked really well throughout the season. It was just a really well gelled team. The chemistry was there. You guys were always, flowing the ball really well through the field and hitting targets, and the recovery was fantastic. But at what point in the game were you like, we've got this? There's always a point. See, for me, when I was watching, it was the third quarter. But you tell me.
I was a bit later than that, mate. I reckon I was probably start of the fourth when we kicked maybe, I think it was probably the second goal of the fourth quarter. I was like, we're in a really good position here. And you can kind of see the Western Bulldogs players start to drop their heads a little bit, and the intensity kind of goes out of the game. So that's when I was like, we've got a good lead here, and something has to go drastically wrong for us to lose it. But even in my head, I'm still like, I play to the siren. That's just my mentality. And I remember Christian Petracca, we're out on the field, and we maybe like, he was telling me and Steve made it, boys, have a smile on your face. And me and Maisie are very similar. We're like intense units. We play to the line, and we both told him to shut up. Like, nah, mate, we've still got 5 minutes to go. Like, that's as soon as the siren goes, that's when I'll chuck a smile on my face. So, you've got two different kind of
Yeah.
characters in the moment there.
Yeah, that's funny. I do remember when I was playing with Christian at school, we were up by like it was like 60 points in the last quarter, and like we were kind of already celebrating. It wasn't good, but I understand that because I'm like you. Was just like nah, just anything could happen. You know, it could get rained off or thunderstorm. You know what I mean? It's just like I just want to keep going until that siren goes. And yeah, we absolutely pumped. It was like 119 to 20 odd or something in the end, but it was disgraceful. It was to get onto the MCG, but yeah, I totally understand exactly where you're coming from. You want to get the job done well and just focus until the end, and then you know you just think it as soon as that siren goes and you've got the victory, you just really want to focus and be like, wow, you know, you get a flash of the whole year, what you've done, the preseason, the season leading up to it. You had an injury? Was that your feet this year?
Yeah, yeah. I had a couple of different layouts. I missed the first game of the year because was coming back from a foot injury.
Yep.
Had surgery on my plantar fascia, so I missed the majority of the preseason. And then I came back and played for a little bit, and then had stress fracture in my same foot, and then a little bit of 2 months off of that, and then came back and got suspended for another 2 weeks. So I had a few ins and outs, a bit of an disrupted season, but luckily I was around at the back end when we were playing finals.
Yeah, awesome. The business end, mate. And I remember when we were
That's right.
gaming just a couple of weeks ago with you were telling me about the process of recovering a fractured foot. It's just you can't do anything. Like the blood flow is restricted there. You just have to keep off it. It's just like probably one of the worst things to have. Like getting through that mentally.
Yeah.
How was that? Like walking around and just not doing anything.
Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, like with the bone stuff, there's not a whole lot you can do with bones. You really just got to let them run their course to heal up. Some people, talking about like bone broth. Make sure your calcium and vitamin D is up, but rest is really just the best thing for it. I've been through maybe probably 4 years now of foot troubles. I've had plantar fascia surgery on both feet now. I've had stress fractures and reactions in both my feet, ankle surgery. So I've been going through this for like 4 years now. And I reckon this season was like, I'm a pretty, mentally resilient, like optimistic character. Like, if I get an injury, I'm looking for the positives out of it. But I mean, having gone through it for so long this year, it got to me, and there were definitely points in my rehab where I'm sitting on a bike, a spin bike, trying to improve my fitness, and I was just thinking like, this is not what I love about football. I didn't grow up thinking, shit, I love sitting on a spin bike. I grew up saying like I love training and competing and being physical and all the things that football brings. So that was kind of what was running through my head this year. But luckily I was kind of 2 months on the sidelines with that, and got back out there in the back end, and played part of some of the most exciting football of my career. So it was good to experience the lows and the highs in one season.
Yeah, awesome, man. And so run me through for people that don't know, like a massive background behind you, run me through the ranks. Obviously you have I'm pretty sure you're a Melburnian, so you go through the TAC Cup and whatnot. So run me through that. When you were younger, you've got the father, son, you got big Toddy over there, helping you from the sidelines and whatnot. So tell me the pressure between having your dad, who's a Melbourne legend, and the heritage of that, and growing up throughout the whole of your high school and junior school, knowing that shit, like I've got to make it, or this may not be for me, or, just tell me about that, man, because that's something different.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for those that don't know, my old man played and was a captain, and won some best and fairest at the Melbourne Football Club. So growing up, I always was eligible for the father-son rule. And, early on, I was quite talented at football and performed strongly. So there was always that, I suppose, pressure or expectation that I would play AFL, when I hit 18. And, that pressure and expectation never really bothered me. I was a really driven young kid, and I wanted to play football. It was my dream, and I felt so fortunate to have a dad that had played AFL football. And growing up, Dad was an assistant coach at Hawthorn Football Club. So I got to kick the footy with some AFL, Sam Mitchell and Luke Hodge and some legends of the Hawthorn Footy Club. So I was always, no, I want to play AFL football. Dad, tell me what I need to do to make it. And I suppose the pressure I put on myself to want to be the best was always outweighed the pressure of, that family. You have to go on and play AFL football. That was my expectation on myself as well. So I had a really good childhood. I was fortunate to play in a lot of the rep teams. Like you said, Oakley, TAC. I played for Vic Metro. I grew up. I moved around a little bit as a kid with Dad coaching. So I played some football in the country, and then we moved to South Australia, and I played some state football for South Australia. I was part of the AIS AFL Academy, which was kind of like the best, 30 players in the country. We had like a little academy, which was, awesome to be part of, and learned so much about the, professionalism of football. And then, turned 18 and was fortunate enough to get picked up by the D's.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That really is I feel like there would be definitely a lot of highs and lows throughout that as well. Like, week in, week out, you got to perform. It's just as simple as that. You've got people, you get told all the time, you've got these people in the crowd, or that guy over there with the clipboard is watching, and all that type of stuff. I remember in junior footy like that. But I remember I've been talking to, I've listened to podcasts and stuff here and there. And one of the boys, Alex Glenn, who's a Broncos champion and captain as well, he was talking about how one time when he first joined the Broncos that he got passed the ball by Darren Lockyer, and he's like, oh my God, bro, I just got passed the ball from Darren Lockyer. Have you had any of those moments? Like, kicking with Luke Hodge, like, oh my God, I just received a ball out in front. Tell me about that, man. Yeah. Like any of those moments where you're like, oh shit, and you just got to play it down.
Yeah. I think I've had a couple of moments like that in my career. Like growing up, Chris Judd was like my idol. I thought he was, the bee's knees, and, he when I got drafted, he was at Carlton by then. And I just remember like tackling Chris Judd, like I tackled him. And I was just like, it was a good tackle too. Like,
yep.
Because he's all taped. It was all, his shoulders were fucked. And
he's
can I swear?
Yeah.
Is swearing okay? Or
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just go for it.
PG podcast, but
that's okay.
His shoulders were screwed, so he's taped up. And
Yep.
I just like grabbed both of the shoulders and they stuck, and I got a good tackle on him. I was like, I just tackled my idol.
Yeah.
So that was mine. And then I reckon the second time was like I mentioned before, growing up, Dad was at Hawthorn as an assistant coach, and he was part of the 08 grand final. And I was like 12 years old at this time. So like fully in my football, loved it, slept with the footy, everything. And, I had idols like Sam Mitchell, Luke Hodge, Jordan Lewis.
Yep.
And then kind of 10 years down the track, Jordan Lewis comes to the Melbourne Football Club, and he's one of my teammates. And that was another kind of like, wow, like I'm now playing, like I remember being 12 years old, like just idolizing these guys. And now, Jordan Lewis is my teammate. So that was another kind of, this is a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. You kind of got to like play it down as well. Can't be too freaky around them, because otherwise they're like, bro, what's going on with you, bro? But the Juddy, as a Carlton supporter, I'm spewing there because you probably meant that we would have lacked 6 more points on the scoreboard there. But but I tell you, Juddy nearly went to Melbourne. He's a Melbourne supporter, so
really,
I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah, because he was obviously at West Coast, mate. And there was a chance that he was going to Melbourne, but I think Carlton opened up the pockets a bit more and got him. So
he got that Vizzy deal under the carpet, under the rug, didn't he?
He did under the table, bit of cash from the Italianos. Yeah. So that was yeah. But look, if they didn't have that, you might have been playing with him, mate. Could have been doing the little bumps.
It's a damn shame.
I know. He really was something that you'd sit back and watch and just go to games just to watch him, to learn how he plays and stuff.
For sure.
Even Ben Cousins, bro. Those two just my god. So one good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, the West Coast days, they were impressive.
Absolutely. So let's go towards like the nowadays stuff, and tell me how you got into gaming, because not every sport player gets into it. I know that you guys want to keep a competitive spirit about you because you're all competitive guys and girls, but and playing a game, you don't have to worry too much about getting injured. It's just your thumbs or your wrists and whatnot. I know that coaches have a lot of views about that because sleep is the biggest tool for recovery. So tell me how you got into it, when you first came across gaming, and you know where you are today now.
I reckon, growing up, getting the PS1, like I've always had a gaming console, growing up, but I suppose I didn't really get into it until like after school, after 18. My brother was playing League of Legends. I'm a few years older than my brother, and he was in year 12 playing League of Legends, and he wanted to buy a PC. And, I just wanted to hang out with my brother. So it was just a way of me trying to connect with my brother, Max. So I ended up getting into League of Legends, playing it on my Apple laptop. And then, I played, started getting some money from football. I was like, I want to get the whole PC set up.
Yep.
And then that's really when I started to fall in love with gaming. I think I love playing Halo growing up, like on the original Xbox. That was a massive influence, or nostalgic game from my childhood. And then Destiny 2 came out, or Destiny 1 at the time, which was made by Bungie. It had a lot of Halo vibes to it. And I got Destiny on the PC, and I fell in love with Destiny, and I sunk some serious hours into that. And and that's kind of where the love of gaming began.
Yeah, awesome, man. And now, and then we linked up in, was it Cold War that we had that 2v2 tournament?
That
was like a year ago, man.
Yeah. No, I've had a couple of these tournaments. I always felt sad. Sorry for the blokes like yourself who get paired up with me, because as much as I love gaming, I'm average at it. I probably don't spend enough hours on it to like really improve, but I enjoy it. It's good fun, good banter. I get to meet people like yourself, so you just gotta have to carry me though a bit harder. I thought you'd be a little bit better, to be honest.
Oh, here we go. Hey, that tournament, out of the 4 people that were there, that I was the only one that's not a full-time streamer. Okay, so I'm just saying, if I went full-time, it'd be nasty. Now I got a 30-80.
You did say that.
Now I'm a 30. I got a 30-80, bro. It's gonna be a little bit nasty. Okay.
Now you're a real gamer.
Now I'm a real gamer, bro.
That FPS boost. That's a game changer.
That's right, man. We got a big freaking shoebox inside my PC box. Like, this thing's huge. Have you ever seen one?
Yeah.
Dude, it's just
the 3090s are even bigger, aren't they?
When the guy bought it out, I don't know his name. The guy that is in charge, the CEO of Nvidia. When he bought it out, he cradled it. It's like he was gonna breastfeed it. Like, it was just huge. He just had it out on stage. I'm like, what's the 4,000 going to be, man? Like, the towers for that are going to be, it's just going to be, I hate to think, mate, if that's how big, because when it went from the 1,000 series to the 2,000, the size wasn't that big. And then when it went from the 2 to the 3, I'm like, what the hell? Like, I've got pictures of it, and it's just, it's 2.5 times. It's 250% increase. So, it's wild, man. It's wild. So
that is nuts.
You don't have a current rig right now, do you?
No, I didn't, mate. I had one, and I sold my house and moved house kind of start of the year. And then as part of that, I had to move all my gear out of my house. So I got my rig out. And then I ended up getting robbed whilst I was staying at my in-laws' place. And they flogged my PC. They flogged my cars as well, but I'm not devo about that. They flogged my PC, which I was shattered about, and they flogged some of my Pokemon cards, which I was even shattered about. So, mate, and then I went up to like whilst I was moving, I was like, I can't get a PC because I'll be throwing it around. I'm not in the one place at the moment. And then I went up to Perth for another 5 weeks. So I had a gaming laptop, took that up there. And now I'm finally back in Melbourne. I'm settled down now. Order the gaming esports or esports. They've lent me a PC to play on.
Yep.
Whilst I get my own rig, so I can start putting that together now.
Nah, awesome, man. Look, Order's a rival of ours at Chiefs and whatnot, but it's great to see that teams like that are willing to put their hand out and help out a fellow gamer. With a reputable brand in the industry. You don't see too many teams like tweet out, "Oh, go check out this team. They're competing at Worlds," or "Go check out this team," or even just a simple "GG, we lost to this team." Like, they won't do that anymore. Which is a little bit sad, but that's what our scene's lacking a little bit. But it like that. It's just great to see the generosity of teams like Order. And Chiefs recently as well tweeting out, go support Fury when they've got their PUBG Global Series coming up and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome.
Australian esports scene, mate. It's seems to be coming along in leaps and bounds. And I as part of the AFL Gamers Network, I met Giles, who works at eSport Order.
Yep.
So he was really accommodating, mate, when he heard I was in need of a PC, and he said you can lend one of ours for the time being.
Yeah. Did you have any Pokemon cards to lend to you?
Oh, unfortunately, no. There was a Shining Fates box as well, so I was flat.
I don't know. I don't understand too much about that, but are they the big boy ones, the good ones?
It was a couple of rare ones, yeah. They must have known what they were doing because they left the shit ones and they just took my ones in sleeves, but.
Yeah, right. That's a shame, man. That's in my Discord. Sometimes I ask around, before I have a guest on, what any questions that you guys have and whatnot, and they get back to me, and we have one today, and it's just like, do you have any superstitions before you jump on the ground or before you train or whatnot, or even before you game? Like, what do you do, man? If you have any?
Yeah, I'm not too superstitious. Growing up, I had a few things like. The same meal the night before the game. I reckon that's still pretty common amongst football players. Like they need to get their bowl of pasta in, or drink 2 bottles of Gatorade or some shit like that. And I played around with a lot of things like as an 18-year-old, but not anymore, mate. I kind of like when I get to the game, I have a pretty set routine, and that's just because I feel like that's just part of my warm-up, but I wouldn't necessarily call that a superstition. A lot of guys, if like they play well, they wear the same jocks the next game or stuff like that.
Yeah, the undies, the good old picking that, like Nadal with the wedgie in the nose, picking the hair pushback and stuff. Nothing that wild. You don't see that in AFL. You get more time in tennis. I've seen, but I don't really. There's the cricket sometimes has the undies and the pads. I've noticed.
Yeah.
I myself used to love wearing the screw-ins, the Adidas. They were the classics. The all black leather, and then it has the 3 stripes on the side. It has the screw-ins.
Yeah.
They were metal, like curved ones, so they weren't illegal, but always played a good game in them. And I as a backman, as a back flanker and centerman, like I remember that one game I kicked 6 goals from the center and back flank, and it's just like that was easily my best game, bro. And I always wore him, man. Except on the hard,
a lot of,
when you were.
There's a few guys.
You go.
Sorry, you go.
You go.
No, I was gonna say there's a few players that are like similar, mate. Like I know Petraka's like that. If you didn't kick well in a pair of boots, like he's got a couple of pairs of boots at the game, he will swap them. Christian Salem is like that as well. He has a shit game kicking. He's like, I'm never wearing those boots again. It's definitely still happens, mate.
What's the funniest
even
one?
At the elite level.
Because that's pretty funny. Just throw the boots out. Nah, these are terrible.
Just throw the boots out.
What's a good one from the team?
That's an expensive one.
Yeah.
What's a good one? No, I reckon. I mean, this is. I don't know. Now, but I remember there was a player I played with. This is back in Vic Metro under 18s days. But before he left, he'd have to have his uniform like on his bed. So like his jumper, and then his shorts, and then his socks and his boots. Like he'd have to lie out the playing uniform as if someone was wearing it.
Yep.
Before he packed it up. So
Okay.
that was a bit like, okay, that's a definite superstition.
Yes.
But that's the weirdest one I can think. I'm sure there's worse ones, but
I know that
off the top of the head.
I used to I listened to Triple M when I was tradie days, and I still do here and there. But now that Eddie Maguire and Luke Darcy have moved on, I don't listen to it as much. But Luke Darcy used to say whenever he went away back in those days, I think that it was more that if you wanted your own room, you had to pay for that accommodation. But nowadays, I think it's you get your own accommodation. You have to tell me about that after this. But he used to bunk with this older guy, and I don't know what his name was, but he used to always tape up the windows. And I'm like, dude, that would be me. Like, because I love a dark room when you can sleep in there. Mickey Mouse, because I hate the sun waking me up. Do you guys have any like stories of that funny thing or whatnot when you bunk with someone?
Clayton Oliver is very similar to that. He's a like odd sleeper. Like if there's the faintest noise or sound in a room, he can't sleep. Like same thing. Like if there's light or I think it's more noise. And like I remember staying with him. This wasn't during the season, but this was a pre-season camp in Queensland, where we're in like small apartments with like 4 guys, and like I come out one morning, and he's moved his mattress like he set up like a cubby house like under the kitchen table. Like he's got his mattress under the kitchen table, and then like sheets over it. So he just pretty much just turned our living room into his bedroom. Because he was outside the air conditioning units or something.
Yeah.
So he's someone who will tear up a bedroom or a hotel room trying to get a good night's sleep.
That is a pisser. It's like when you watch a dog just walk laps in its bed and just puffing it up and all that type of stuff, just getting it right. That is funny though. That is extremely funny. With some people's habits, because you don't understand, like, as a teammate, you'd see people and just be like, you see them for who they are and you see them here and there. But when it comes to the sleeping and the living routine, it's very funny how different people are and how set in their ways they are. How clean they are, how dirty they are, with the sleeping habits and whatnot. I know that Nick Naitanui sleeps on the deck, on the ground. Have you heard about that?
Oh, really?
On the deck, mate.
Damn.
Like, and
That's interesting.
And he messes up. And so what I've heard on another podcast, he messes up the bed. So then the cleaner thinks that he sleeps on the bed. So then the cleaner actually makes the bed. How whack is that?
That requires a follow up.
Yeah.
If you can get him on the podcast and what is going on here, mate? Because that's some dangerous areas, I feel.
It's some weird stuff. I think it may be tall timber.
Weird stuff.
Tall timber blokes, they're just too big for the bed. Like Gorney. Okay, does he fit in a bed? Like, huge.
He'd definitely overhang him. His feet would be off the end for sure.
Oh, mate, that would be shocking.
Well, because like what? Beds are normally 200 centimeters and he's like 210.
And then also you don't sleep. Your head isn't off at the top of it. It's a little bit lower, which is the pillow.
Yeah.
So you can imagine.
What if you go across it? Maybe
diagonal?
He just sneaks in there if he goes, yeah.
That's a question I think for you to. I don't think he games, so you probably wouldn't be interested in coming on the podcast. But yeah, that's a very interesting thing. How he would fit. One of my mates is 6'8" and he sleeps diagonally in his queen bed. I know that, but I'm like, well, where does he miss his sleep when she comes over? Like, does she just get
on the floor?
Yeah, on the deck.
Nick Naitanui style.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's one of those things, man. It's weird, but back to what you were saying about the food beforehand. I know that I tweeted out when I was into my footy, 2012 or something. I tweeted out Cameron Ling. and that was when Twitter was kind of new. And so I said, Ling, what do you have for the meal beforehand? And he said the big bowl of pasta. So you mentioned that before, and I'm like, that's, you know, it's just the thing. But a funny story, and you probably would have seen a lot of him, Hamish Blake. I know that for one of his challenges, he was doing a marathon, and he had to drink. He was just preparing for it, so he drank like heaps of Gatorade. But you know how when your body doesn't need something, you kind of get rid of it. So you pee it out, poo it, or you sweat it. He sweat out a ton of salt from the Gatorade because because he had too much. Wow. Which is like the body's like, well, I don't need that salt. It just came out of it like he was covered in salt. Because I listened to their podcast, they talked about it, and it was just so funny. But do you see many celebrities down at the club coming by? You know, apart from Hamish, you know.
Yeah, I know Hamish is a D's man, and he's quite close with Gorney.
Yep.
Well, no, not really, to be honest.
Okay.
If they do, they don't want to see me, so.
Oh, spewing, mate. Spewing. No, you're just too good for them, mate. Don't worry about them, okay? Don't worry about them. You're too good, mate. Stuff them, okay?
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
You know, number one premiership player, AFL gamer in the country, okay? Like, you don't have time for that, mate. To catch up with them, you need to check out with your PA.
That's right.
That's it. Right. So
book it in.
Exactly. So run me through back to an AFL question now. Run me through the pressure of performing and, you know, being able to put your foot on the track and putting like a meal on the table for the family, because obviously if you don't play well, you don't get a game, and then, you know, it puts your contract in jeopardy. So how do you deal with that pressure on that side of things if you ever think about it and whatnot?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, you know, I've been really fortunate that I've been, you know, I've never necessarily been kind of on the fringe, which I think would be the toughest position on a list to be on is, you know, fighting for your spot every single week.
Yep.
Because I think there's two very different experiences in the AFL world. Those who, you know, get to play regularly, and then those who are continuously fighting for their spot and fighting for a contract. I think, you know, the average AFL career is kind of 3 or 4 years, and you know, every single year players are fighting for just another contract, and just the media scrutiny, and also the pressure of the environment, because it's such a high performance industry.
Yep.
You've got 3, 4, 5, 6 coaches, whether it be you know, your line coach, you know, your head coach, your line coach, you know, if you're a midfielder or a forward. Then you've got development coaches, and then you've got, you know, list managers as well, who you'd be having conversations with. So all these people are looking at you every single session to see if you've improved.
Yeah.
They're not afraid of telling you what your weaknesses are. You know, this is what you need to do to get a game. This is what you need to do to get another contract. This is what you need to do to be the best midfielder in the competition. And then it's just up to the individual to work. I mean, they obviously work with coaches, but you're evaluated constantly, looked at constantly. And if it's not performance, it's your skin folds. Is he too fat? Is he too skinny? Is he on weight? Is he time trials? How's he running?
Yep.
How's he living away from football? So that there's really no escaping as an AFL player, you know, the pressures. Yep. And I know it really can get to people. And you know, the mental health side of football is only, you know, the conversations around mental health of football players and professional athletes is only increasing. I'm quite fortunate that I like, what's the word? I'm got like intense, you know, I love to train. I love to work hard.
Yep.
I don't necessarily have a huge social life. So,
you
know, coming home and playing some games online. So the life of an AFL professional athlete really suits my personality.
Yep.
But yeah, it's challenging for heaps of people.
No, that's awesome, man. And you're a driven guy. You're focused. You've got your blinkers on to some things that you don't need to worry about, which is great. Now people coming through to the AFL and that come onto your team, or people that might tackle you or intercept a ball from you, they're probably like, holy shit, Jack Viney, and they look up to you as well, like how you looked up to the boys when you tackled Chris Judd or kick a ball with Luke Hodge. Which is awesome. So, dude, I love that. That's awesome, and it's a great thing to put forward as a role model for people to look forward to and develop their game style, or even just the mentality towards the game, or just how you are, and as a person. That's where people love you for a person, as a player outside of the game as well. But a change of topic here. When we were gaming,
Let's do it.
I want you to tell me about that statement that you told me. You know what I'm talking about. Tell me.
I know what you said.
Tell me.
You said
about
straight
it.
away. That's what we're getting on the podcast.
Tell me about it, man. Tell me.
So what was I said? I said, what did I say? It was like, if I could make the same amount of money streaming as I was playing, I'd change careers in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Was
it something along that? Or?
It was more that I would rather be.
I would rather
be. There we go. Run me through the thought process of that. You'd rather be a gamer than an AFL footballer. That is a ripper. Tell me the thought behind that, man. I
love gaming, dude. Like,
yeah.
it's a genuine passion of mine, and like you said, if it was a job where I could support my family,
yep.
What a career that would be.
Yep.
To pursue something that you love. So I know I'm in football, because it's like the pressures I was talking about before. There's times where it can feel like a job rather than a passion, because you're so on all the time.
Yep.
Whereas when I come home to game, it's just doing something that I love.
Yeah. You live in the dream, mate. You're doing everything that you love. That's great. I love it. I love it. I sit back here, I'm like, mate, this bloke's living the dream.
At the heat of the moment, I was like, sign me up.
If someone
could say, yeah, you can be a full-time streamer / gamer.
Yep.
And you got to give away footy. I was like, yeah, where's the contract?
There it is. I think if the question was asked 5 years ago, it would have been like, nah, mate. You would have been the blinkers are on, I reckon.
Nah.
No way.
Oh, what? If the same question was asked 5 years ago.
Yeah, you would have kept the blinkers on,
surely. Man, that was the peak of my Destiny 2 career. So that I could
questionable.
Quite easily jump ship as well then.
Oh, okay. There we go. Any organisations out there? There we go.
Yeah, well, mate, can you talk to the Chiefs, mate? Surely they can.
Chiefs? Hey, we can get you on board, mate. You wouldn't mind having one of those on your chest on the left titty. No, that'd be good, man. I'll tell you what. Hey, the content that we would make, I'm just thinking about it. We'd do a training session together. That's content. Dude, so many things, bro. I'll try to keep up.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm not a good runner, but I can keep up endurance-wise in other things, if that makes sense, because I don't run. Yeah,
don't worry, bro. I don't like running either.
Beautiful.
But I like boxing. You skip. I box. That's content. That's
this Saturday. I'm getting into my first boxing set. I just bought some Everlast gloves, really? Some inners, and I'll go my 52-year-old gym partner, bro. He's a champion. And then I met him through gym, Tony. And then, funny enough, I introduced him to my parents, and then they catch up. So he catches up with my parents for dinners and whatever, and then he comes to me in the gym into the Iron Kingdom. So it's a funny one there. It's a pisser. He's a legend. Legend.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's good to bounce off people for motivation as well. If you've got a gym partner going to gym, or if you've got with your pre-season, you've got someone that you train with, which you always do. It's great to be like, well, I've got to go because I don't want to let myself down, but also I don't want to let my teammate down, because at the end of the day, AFL is about the team. And the teamwork literally makes the dream work, and gets the medal around your neck and the trophy above your head. So I love that, man, dude.
No, I think training with people is like essential to really achieving something special. Like you said, it's a bit of accountability, a bit of extra motivation, and then half the issue or majority of the session issue is just getting to the session, like
Yep.
that motivation to get there.
Yep.
But if you got a partner, it makes it a whole lot easier for sure.
Absolutely, man. Look, one last question. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. We've actually gone overtime. I love it. Love it, man.
Oh, mate, let's do it.
One last question, mate.
It's felt like 5 minutes.
It has, and that's the good vibe, man. You're a great vibe, dude. Honestly, dude, you're a great vibe. One last question, dude. So, where do you store? You may not, but where do you store your butter? Okay, in the fridge or the pantry?
What? I'm butter. Sorry, I'm in the fridge.
The fridge. Here we go.
Yeah, 100%.
Here we go. There's been ups and downs.
How is this even debated?
What do you mean?
I thought like butter just goes in the fridge.
It goes.
I didn't even know there was another.
Well, if you pull it out of the fridge, sometimes it might be a little bit weird on the dough. It depends where you live. Depends where you live, man. All right, that's going to be it for the episode. Thank you.
We're going to wrap things up.
We're going to wrap things up, mate. Okay, we're going to butter it up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the episode 4 of the podcast with the number 1 AFL Premiership player and streamer in the country, Jack VINEY. Thank you so much for coming on board, brother. Thank you for your time.
No worries, mate. Just having me.